Hi, good morning. Welcome to yet another episode of Health Discourse with Sakshi and Sushant. So, hi Sushant, good morning.
Good morning. Today is an important day because today I think is World Kidney Day,
Right,
right? And it is important to address this growing epidemic of kidney diseases, right?
absolutely.
Right. And because there are a lot of science behind onset and progression of chronic kidney disease, which has not been addressed, right? So today we are going to discuss a lot on the kidney health front. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, I think with this, let us begin this discussion. And my first question to you is for all those people who have been suffering from chronic kidney diseases, and it starts for some, it begins with small stones which are identified in the kidneys, and then it aggravates to kidney failures or maybe chronic kidney issues. So why is it that such problems have not been addressed in order in the sense of prevention? Why is it that always these things ends at dialysis? And why is it that there are so many companies which are coming up for the management of the disease? Are we not advanced enough to find out a solution to this problem of chronic kidney disease?
Okay, so over last few decades, the practice has been of reductionist biology approach, right? So everywhere, including the modern healthcare, focuses on treating every body organ as separate, right? So if you have kidney disease, they focus on, uh, you know, giving you external chemicals and drugs for kidneys, right? Without understanding the interrelation between uh, kidney health and cardiovascular health, kidney health, and metabolic health, the deep root connection between our microbes in our gut and mouth with the onset and progression of chronic kidney disease. And these are early signatures, right? So you don't develop kidney disease overnight, right? It is an uh, prolonged wrong choices in our life, whether it is nutrition, whether it is oral hygiene, right? Uh, which triggers this systemic inflammation inside the body, which causes chronic kidney disease, right? And in terms of the current set of intervention, yeah, you rightly pointed out, there are uh, new solutions coming, which companies are building apps to track your water intake, to track your food intake, to track your weight, to track your sleep, to track your symptoms, right? But these all things are, anyways, you have to track, right? It is not specifically with respect to kidney disease, but this post-symptomatic management of disease doesn't help, right? Because again, uh, dialysis is the last stage of uh, what we call the end stage of renal failure or renal dysfunction, right? And since your kidneys are not functioning because it cannot filter out the bad toxins out of your body, and that's why you have a lot of these issues, right? But I would like to divide the discussion into three parts, right? One is the connection of uh, blood pressure and type 2 diabetes with chronic kidney disease. Second is the role of gut microbiome. Third is the oral microbiome, right? That's what I think that's something would address the entire aspect of the connection between kidney and the various aspects of our health. Yeah.
So, yes, I think let us begin by understanding the role of oral microbiome because it starts with the mouth, right? As we have
Yeah.
earlier pointed it out, that food it enters the mouth, that is the first point of contact with the microbiome. So, let us begin by understanding the oral microbiome and kidney related problems.
Okay, so we all know there are 100 billion microbes living on and inside our mouth, right? And they come from around 600, 700 species, right? So it is the first exposure to to they are the first exposed to the toxins and the external things, whether it's food, whether it is environmental toxins, whether it is some sort of hygiene products, right? And these microbes in our mouth predigest the food and convert into certain metabolites, and these metabolites are like biochemical signals. They move faster than the food, the pre-digested part of the food moves to your stomach, right? So a lot of these microbes uh, could express certain genes which could lead to production of certain pro-inflammatory metabolites such as ammonia, polyamines, hydrogen sulfide, right? Urease, right? A lot of these are end product of we consuming, for instance, H2S, we consume more of cruciferous vegetables which are high in sulfide. These all metabolites also impact your bad breath, and that's how bad breath is connected with your chronic kidney disease as well, right? Or maybe overconsumption of you know uh, amino acids such as glutamine and L-arginine, or citrulline, tyrosine, phenylalanine. So a lot of these could be metabolized by the microbes in the mouth into these harmful metabolites such as H2S, ammonia, and polyamines, which could uh, trigger inflammation, right? And which could be the initial starting point of the chronic health issues, right? So bad breath anyway is connected uh, with your chronic kidney disease. And these are early signs, right? So these are something as of now, no diagnostic test actually focuses on these pathways, right? Apart from few companies working on the oral microbe, including us, right? So that is one. The second aspect is very, very important, which is the production of the most important gas, nitric oxide. I think we have discussed this in detail in various talks earlier, but just brief for our body, and produces nitric oxide through two pathways, right? One is through oral microbiome, when the microbes are convert nitrate into nitrite, which mixes the stomach and produce nitric oxide. Nitric oxide uh, has a vasodilator effect. It regulates your blood flow, it regulates your blood pressure, right? So in that way, it helps in various aspects of our health, including kidney health. So if your microbes are not producing enough nitric oxide, right? Or there's a lot of production of asymmetric dimethyl arginine ADMA, which is again which competes with. So let me break this the first pathway. So essentially, we have this endothelial cell on every tissue, including kidneys, right? And there is a nitric oxide phase which couples with this endothelial cells, and they convert. So L-arginine is something which is the semi-essential amino acid is produced inside the body, right? So it combines oxygen and convert into nitric oxide and citrulline, right? And this nitric oxide is actually this is done by your nitric synthase, right? So if it is coupled with endothelial cell, it produces nitric oxide, which has a vasodilator effect, right? So if probably ADMA competes with ENOS for L-arginine, if you're consuming too much of L-arginine, right? So it actually is converted, it leads to activation of another enzyme called arginase, which leads to production of, or which excretes the arginine from feces, or ENOS may produce convert into superoxide, which causes oxidative stress, right? And again, oxidative stress impacts your endothelial cell, including your kidney functioning. So it impacts your kidney functioning, and that's again a starting point of uh, kidney health issues, right? Uh, so again, the oral microbiome, if and this particular pathway of endothelial cell is actually the ability of this pathway to produce nitric oxide reduces by 10% every year. So by the age of 40, 50, your ability to produce nitric oxide is reduced by 50%. That's why the nitric oxide produced by oral microbiome becomes more and more important, right? So nitric oxide has a vasodilator effect, right? It prevents oxidative stress. So again, oxidative stress, it prevents the endothelial cell dysfunction, and that's what keeps the kidney functioning very well, right? So again, oral microbiome have these sort of roles to regulate uh, you know, your kidney health, right? Uh, Again, these are something which has not been addressed by any of the healthcare service providers till now, right? So nitric oxide is one of the essential molecule which suppresses inflammation, which has a vasodilator effect. It regulates your blood pressure. It improves your oxygen uptake delivery. It impacts your blood flow, right? And it actually helps in maintaining a better kidney health, right? So that is one aspect. So this is really, really important again because nitric oxide is in other way, right? Nitric oxide also regulates your insulin signaling. So if your nitric oxide production you have a deficient nitric oxide production, it leads to impairment in insulin signaling. It leads to situation of type 2 diabetes, right? And we know type 2 diabetes damages the blood vessels of kidneys, and again it causes kidney disease, right? So that is again linked. Again, nitric oxide is required for regulating blood pressure. If there's a deficiency of NO production, it impacts increases your blood pressure. It narrows down your blood vessels. It slows down the flow of blood to the kidneys, and again it impacts your kidney function, right? So kidney cannot filter out a lot of toxins which your body will be producing through various aspects, right? Through various metabolism, various foods. Again, so nitric oxide either directly through NOS or through oral macron has an impact on your metabolic health by develop. So deficiency of it can lead to the type 2 diabetes, high BP, which again directly indirectly impacts your kidney function, right? So this is something which has not been studied, and this is really, really, really important.
Well, I think we have already, as you have mentioned about nitric oxide, it is something very prominent. Now, what happens when all of these pathways, they are impacting the gut microbiome in some or the other way, right? So I
Mhm.
think let's just focus to the next level, which is the gut microbiome and the chronic kidney disease. I believe we have discussed it in one of our talks where we have discussed about the trilogy between type 2 diabetes and
Mhm.
cardiovascular and
Mhm.
kidney. But for the benefit of the listeners, let us just give them a brief about how now these pathways, if they're moving towards the gut microbiome, how they're going to impact the chronic kidney disease functions.
Okay, so again, gut dysbiosis is something when we are feeding in the wrong way, we are eating too much of uh, generated recommendation maybe high protein diets or something like that, it leads to micro, in our gut producing harmful metabolites such as LPS, right? Now, lipopolysaccharide, it causes neuroinflammation, right? And neuroinflammation related to high blood pressure. It elevates your blood pressure. Again, as I mentioned, high BP is one of the risk factor for chronic kidney disease, right? By by slowing down the flow of blood or narrowing the blood vessels and damaging the blood vessels, right? Uh, Again, GABA production, right, which is another neurotransmitter produced by the gut microbiome, helps in regulating blood pressure. If your gut microbiome is imbalanced, probably your the body is not producing enough GABA, so it would increase again your impact your blood pressure, directly impact your chronic kidney function. Similarly, trimethylene oxide, which is again an end product of your microbes, uh, metabolizing choline and lecithin and converting to TMA, which goes through liver and converts into TMAO, right? And TMAO again activates certain super oxide pathway, which causes oxidative stress, right? And again, oxidative stress, we all know, causes endothelial cell dysfunction in kidneys and causes chronic kidney disease. Similarly, oxalate metabolism, right? So if you have high suboptimal oxalate metabolism, right? It means oxalate is not being cleared from the circulation because we don't have that microbes active, responsible to clearing the oxalate. So there's a lot of oxalate deposition on the kidneys, which leads to loss of renal function, right? So again, we don't know. So foods such as spinach, dates, almonds have high oxalate. Even apple have oxalate, but we don't know because what how our body is metabolizing or neutralizing oxalate, and that's why we keep on eating this, assuming these are healthy, right? But these may trigger loss of renal function through oxide metabolism, right? Uh, so these are few pathways. Again, two of the most important one again is the protein fermentation levels, right? And here we talk of two basic metabolites. One is p-cresol, which is again an end product of microbes eating up tyrosine or metabolizing tyrosine. Right. Similarly, in doxyl sulfate, it is an end product of tryptophan. Right. Again, your microbes metabolizing tryptophan converting to doxyl sulfate. Right. Indoor passes through liver and gets you doxyl sulfate. Again, these overproduction of this, actually these can be easily filtered out by your kidneys, but as you keep on consuming a lot of protein, your kidney become very less efficient to clear this. So there's a high circulatory level of even in intestine has a great level of these toxins, right? Which again leads to, leads to loss of intestinal integrity, leads to intestinal permeability, allows certain bacterial metabolites to move to other parts of the body, including kidneys, creating systemic inflammation and causing them, chronic kidney disease. It's a vicious cycle, So the more you produce, the lower the function of chronic kidney, lower the function of kidney, and lower the function of kidney, the more disperses there, and more circulatory level of these toxins are there, urine toxin are there, it further leads to leaky gut and further oxidative stress, right? So that's all interconnected, right? And again, so these are something with essential pathways at the molecule level, which your gut microbiome produces if they are in imbalance. And the fact is that there's no blood test which focuses on measuring all these pathways, right? So most of the testing is around creatinine level, urea level, or the filtration of GFR, right? Which we generally check, right? But beyond that, or the kidney function test, right? But we didn't tell you why we have impaired kidney function, right? Another important aspect is the consumption of PPIs, right? Inhibitors, ACE inhibitors, a lot of these things, which is because of high blood pressure, right? Or maybe acid reflux, and these actually again suppresses nitric oxide production because it wipes off the stomach acid, and you need stomach acid to produce nitric oxide through oral microbiome, right? Or it actually leads to overexpression of ADMA, acetyl demethylarginine, which I mentioned earlier, and again this suppresses nitric oxide production, again, which leads to endothelial cell dysfunction and leads to chronic kidney disease, or it leads to oxidative stress. And again, this also that's why the chronic kidney disease is linked to cardiovascular disease also, because oxidative stress also impacts your heart health, right, directly, right? So these all things are interlinked, right?
I can totally relate to that because I have in my family, personally speaking, if I open up, two of my family members have had chronic kidney disease. So in one case, it's began at diabetes, type 2 diabetes, and then ended at chronic kidney disease, and then obviously cardiovascular disease. That's how it ends, right? Then in another case, it was high BP issues since an early age, during 30s or 40s or whatever. Then from high BP, it went on to become a chronic kidney disease problem, kidney stones, and then chronic kidney disease issues. Then it also led to ulcerative colitis, you know, because of bloody stools and all. And then after that,
It's also because of oral microbiome. So
yeah,
microbes in the
I
mouth
agree.
could move to gut. So for Fusobacterium nucleatum, cystic mutans, this could move to gut, and this could cause ulcerative colitis, IBD, right?
Yeah,
Or even worse, colorectal cancer, right? So
yeah,
again, it is because of gut oral microbiome dysbiosis, right? So
yeah, yeah.
it's all connected. Even when you talk of BP, so when you take BP medicines like ACE inhibitors, ARBs, right? They interfere with the absorption of various nutrients, and that's why people who are suffering from chronic kidney disease have vitamin B12 deficiency, have iron deficiency, have magnesium deficiency, have
Yes,
calcium deficiency.
because what we saw that these people, they began to lose their memory with the onset of more dialysis. It led to this dementia, and then loss of memory, and sometimes they used to forget their name. It
So
happens.
there is a neuroinflammation. So you are doing dialysis, you are preventing. So dialysis means you are making sure that all the uremic toxin and the harmful waste is getting out of your body in a very you know different way, not a natural way of how your biological processes work, right? So essentially,
Yeah.
but still you're not suppressing the neuroinflammatory pathways like LPS or low production of GABA. So obviously you lose your memory, lose your focus, yeah, you become irritated, there's a memory loss, right? So because if so a lot of these neurotransmitters is produced by microbes in your gut, for instance, serotonin and GABA, right? And again, if your gut is imbalanced, probably they are not producing these enough neurotransmitters, so it directly impacts your brain. And so it's all actually connected, and even certain metabolites such as ammonia, right? Ammonia could cross blood-brain barrier and go to brain and start doing inflammation there, right? Again, ammonia is a byproduct of glutamine, and again, it is one of the biomarker for chronic kidney disease as well.
Yeah, that's completely true. So I think, Sushant, with this we have elaborated a lot of pathways from the oral microbiome perspective and from the gut microbiome perspective. Now, is there any more information that you would want to share in terms of nutrition? Because I think lot of times you have mentioned that there are amino acids like L-arginine that plays a key role, right? And then there are pathways like indoxyl sulfate and other, what you have mentioned, picresol and all these things that are actually making us more prone to chronic disease, chronic kidney disease, right? Now, if you could just elaborate on a certain list of nutrition habits that one should follow. I mean, we cannot certainly tell what they should eat, what they should not, because that is something their biology should tell. They should be guided by their biology. But what are the some do's and don'ts that they can follow in their daily lives in order to prevent this onset of chronic kidney disease?
See, it's a double-edged sword, and there's if someone asks me what should I can't tell, but some few things which you should remember in terms of various regulation of biological processes, right? So there's no such thing as that consuming 1.5 or 2 gram of protein per kg of body weight. Obviously, we need protein, a lot of cellular processes, brain functions. People who eat less protein have anxiety, depression issues, right? But again, these all the ingestion of protein which is currently happening, whether it is through fitness companies, through trainers, we have seen through health companies, even people the diabetes management company push for more of protein and less of
Even sometimes
carbohydrate.
healthcare practitioner also pushes them to
Yeah,
have iron
yeah.
supplements are given. That is very natural. Iron supplements they will always give. Then they will always be giving supplements for calcium and
Again,
protein
yeah.
and all that, all these things.
Yes, so,
So
so again, these are all based on population studies, right? And population studies assume all every individual as an average individual, average healthy individual, which is wrong, right? Your biology is different, my biology is different. We don't share more than 5% of the biology, right? So again, in terms of genes expression, we are saying so microbial genes expression again, 99% of genes expressed from microbiome, so we share only 5%. So essentially, that may or may not work. So in terms of the protein consumption, how much or which amino acid you should take, it should be driven by your unique biology. Specific pathways such as ammonia, methane, H2S, LPS, TMAO, phenylacetyl picosol and oxide sulfate, right? Because tryptophan, it's very tricky. So tryptophan is used by gut microbiome to produce serotonin, which impacts it into your health. But it is also used by certain microbes in your gut, which could convert tryptophan into endoxyl sulfate, right? Again, it's an indole substrate, so again, which is said to cause inflammation, which is said to cause this is uremic test is said to cause chronic kidney disease. It is also linked to oxidative stress and heart disease as well, right? So, so essentially, it all depends upon which specific pathways are currently being activated inside your body. That determines how much of each amino acid you should consume. Again, consuming excess just by going by population studies is harmful because it will lead to excess protein, and again it would reach to colon, and your microbes will start converting these into various all these uremic toxins and different harmful metabolites, right, which could have multiple health effects. Also, you have to see whether you have certain enzymes active in your stomach, in your small intestine, which are metabolizing or these proteins. So essentially, you can't go by population studies first thing, right? Do not think carbs are bad. When I talk of carbohydrates, I generally talk of MAC, microbiota accessible carbohydrate. It means the carbohydrates which is related with a lot of resistant starch and fibers, right? Which could uh, which feeds your microbiome to produce bitrate. Again, which is one of the essential metabolite which regulates your blood pressure, regulates your satiety, regulates your glycemic response, multiple things, right? So, do not go by generic nutrition interventions. Do not assume that carbs are bad. Go for MAC, macro accessible carbohydrates. Do not think all green vegetables are good, because green vegetables, some can be bad depending upon certain parts. For instance, broccoli, cabbage, these could be bad if your body if there is a high production of hydrogen sulfide both in mouth and gut, right? So again, this is or probably there are certain viruses, right, which could lead to inflammation. For instance, tomato, or probably if you're in a high histamine overproduction, probably tomatoes and dark shade vegetables like brinjal, right, uh, or dark chocolates could be bad, right. So again, there's nothing called as universal healthy diet, right. You have to see various pathways. For instance, if you think spinach palak is a stable diet for North Indians, right? If you're consuming too much of spinach, it is high in oxalates. If your body doesn't have it micro neutralizing oxalate, probably it could lead to kidney stone, it could lead to oxalate deposition in the kidneys, it could impact loss of renal function. So again, this is first of all, do not adopt a reductionist biology approach. Do not think, oh, I have a kidney issue, I'll address kidney issues. I have a heart thing, I'll address the heart issues by taking medicines, by taking some chemicals or generic nutrition trends, or taking too much of protein. This is all a wrong notion, right? So understand your biology. Your biology is unique as your fingerprint, right? So you can't just adopt, oh, this is something help my friend or my neighbor or my colleague or my wife, it will work for me also. It doesn't work like that. No.
I think, Sushant, with this, we have come to the end of this discussion. We conclude this discussion. And any other words would you like to add here? Any other information?
Yeah, so my only last word is, do not focus on a particular body organ. Focus on the whole biology system, biology, Do not focus on managing the symptoms. Try and understand why you have developed symptom in the first place. Understand the root cause of various health conditions, right? And again, this we have now a lot of these technologies which could help understand our health, which was not possible earlier. So make use of those technology, but for that you need to collect the right data set. So your diagnostic tests are not going to help you, right? Because they are a summary of your biological process. They are the post-symptomatic issue which is going on inside the body. It doesn't tell you why you have a particular disease. So again, that's with that we would like to end this discussion, and uh, take the right approach for your health. Understand your overall biology at a molecular level, right? Uh, that's what I want to conclude.
Thank you, Sushant. Thank you. This was a very insightful discussion for chronic kidney disease. And for all our listeners, whatever, uh, please feel free to write to us if you have any questions regarding chronic kidney disease, because today is a special episode for World Kidney Day, and we would like to address this problem through whatever information we can provide. Right. So, thank you everyone for listening to our podcast, and we are available on YouTube, Amazon Music, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Thank you.
Thank you.